There is an invisible monster out there, killing teenagers in record numbers. It is the fastest growing killer of youth in America and the second leading cause of death for people aged 15 to 24. It is suicide. More young people die by their own hands than die from cancer, AIDS, heart disease, birth defects, stroke, pneumonia, influenza, and chronic lung disease combined. 1 in 5 youths has suicidal thoughts, and 1 in 10 will make an attempt. The Light for Life Foundation is working to change these grim statistics. Started by Dale and Dar Emmy, the Yellow Ribbon Program is a way for teens to ask for help in their most desperate hour.
All of this started for us 3 years ago in September of 1994 when we lost our youngest son, Mike, to teen suicide. Now, Mike was 17 and a half. He was a junior in high school. He was a good kid. He was not a perfect kid, but he was a good kid, just like those of you sitting in the audience today. And with his death, absolutely, that event changed our life. Well, Mike and his way of doing things, much like a lot of you do, you're very conscientious, you're very, maybe even precise in what you do. He had left us that note that night. And he dated it, and he signed it, and he timed it. We drove in the driveway that night at 11:52. That note was timed at 11:45. We missed Mike by 7 minutes. And trust me, there's been times that I've bargained with the power to be to let me buy back 8 minutes. I'd give my life even if I could buy back 8 minutes and bring Mike back. And I can't. But I can help others. What I said to those kids that morning, and what I'm saying to you right now, each and every one of you, is don't do this. Don't think about, don't consider, don't try, don't attempt suicide. It's not an option. What you need to know, kids, is that suicide is not about death. I want you to hear me. Suicide is not about death. Suicide is not about dying. That's the end result. What suicide is about is pain. Awful, horrible, horrible, horrible pain that just hurts so bad you can't handle it. Ask for help. Reach out to somebody. Go to your teacher, your counselor, your parent, your grandma, your grandpops. Go to your friends. Go to your big brothers and sisters. Go to somebody. Talk to somebody. Don't do this.
Putting that message on cards and attaching yellow ribbons in honor of their son's cherished yellow Mustang, the Emmys distributed 500 cards at Mike's memorial service.
Dale got a phone call one morning, and it was a teacher, high school teacher from Natrona County High School in Casper, Wyoming. And she says, I have this yellow piece of paper here. Now, how in the world did it get from Denver to Casper in 2 weeks? Obviously, kids sent it to other kids or took it. And she says, the student brought this paper to me, and we've been talking. She says, you know, our kids up here need to know it's okay to ask for help. Some of our kids up here need help. How can we get these yellow pieces of paper? How can we get these yellow ribbons? And that's how our program began.
Nearly 1 million cards later, the Yellow Ribbon Program has been carried by teens to all 50 states and 33 foreign countries.
On the front of the card, basically we've got a business-sized type card that's got a yellow ribbon printed on it. And the card, the front of it is twofold purpose. The front of the card basically is to remind you, first of all, that you've got permission to ask for help. And kids, that's an extremely important thing. Always remember that you've got permission. The second thing that the front of the card does is it gives you the tool to be able to ask for help if you're ever at a point that you don't know what to say, how to break the ice. What it says on the front of the card is this ribbon is a lifeline. It says if you're ever in need to talk to someone and don't have the words, take this card to a teacher, to a counselor, to a friend, to a parent, to a member of the clergy, and hand them the card and say, I need to use my yellow ribbon. It's extremely important to know that you can give this card to somebody when you can't find the words. Now that most of you have got the card, go ahead and turn it over on the back. This part is important too, because what the back of the card does is it tells you what to do if somebody ever hands you a card. Because kids, there's over 750,000 of these cards out already around the world. What it does is it tells you, first of all, it says is a cry for help if you're ever handed a card. And it says three things very simply. First one is to take the person seriously. Second one is to stay with them. And the third one is to get them to somebody who can help if you can't.
The Emmys addressed the issue of suicide head-on. They have spoken at hundreds of schools, and young people get their message. The Light for Life Foundation and its regional chapters are working to increase suicide awareness nationally. At a forum in San Diego, Dr. David Bergman dispels the myths of suicide.
It's often the myths about suicide that prevent people from being where they need to be, from admitting and talking about this kind of issue, from accessing or being available to help youngsters and people who are in this kind of difficulty. It's a way of kind of keeping ourselves deluded. Talking about suicide would encourage a kid to commit it. Absolutely untrue. Talking is the first step in trying to avoid it. It's the act which may break through that terrible isolation that a kid who's feeling so much pain and so desperate would be experiencing.
Awareness and outreach equals prevention. That's what it's all about.
We have recently looked at our paperwork, and we have documented proof that we've already saved over 1,000 kids with this program.
Without your program, I might have never seen the light, and I might have committed suicide, and then I would have not been here to save my friend's life. So you have saved 2 lives. Let me thank you so much.
Thanks to your program, I would not carry out my plan to commit suicide. I now have my whole life in front of me, and that's more than I can pay for.
I found out about the Yellow Ribbon program in a 3rd serving of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Your story really made me think about how much my friends and my family mean to me. And if an occasion should arise when they do use their ribbon, then I will be ever more grateful for your idea of creating the Yellow Ribbon program. Thank you.
Thank you for being there to let those without hope know that there is always someone who cares.
This program made me realize that there are more people out there to help me and who love me than there are reasons to die. I will keep my card with me to remind me of my reasons to live. Thank you so much.